Okay, hello everybody, and welcome back to our third month of doing our absolute catch-up fantasy comic book league and reviews. It's everything in one. We slap a lot in this, but basically the way that this works is not only do we recap and review each issue of the absolute books, in this case issues 3 of all of the books. If you haven't seen our things on 1 and 2, they're in a playlist somewhere in the description. Um, but in any case, but while we're doing that, we also score our fantasy football comic book teams to see who comes out ahead for the week and in the running tally. So before we get into actually recapping and reviewing these books, Katie, why don't you tell us how the scoring works, and then we'll go and we'll talk about each of our teams and the computer's team, because we do have an AI playing with us. Not really an AI, a fake eye playing with us.
Yes, so the scoring is based on the characters that we have drafted. So I have drafted Wonder Woman, Jim Gordon, and Black Mask for this week. Jay, who have you drafted for this week?
This week I have Batman, Alfred, and Peacemaker. And I believe our bot team has Superman, Catwoman, and Tetracide. I combined the first two there.
And for each appearance of that character, they get a point for just showing up. If they win a fight, they get 5 points. If they lose a fight, they lose 5 points. On a sliding scale, if they save or kill civilians, they get either 1, 2, or 3 points, again, depending on how many civilians are involved. If they thwart a supervillain, that is a plus 10. If they save a named character, so that's, someone we're familiar with, they get a plus 2. If they win a fight against a whole mob on top of their 5, they get an additional 3.
That stacks.
Yeah. And if they gain a roll of power, that gets them 7 points.
Yep.
We've each got 2 heroes and 1 villain. The bot has 2 heroes and 1 villain.
Yep.
So as we go through the books, we'll be making our bids and debates over what.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How are you?
I think this might be a clean week. I think this might be pretty clean in terms of us debating.
I don't think so.
Really?
I disagree. I think there's something that you're not going to want to accept, but I have precedent. I've actually gone back and got legal precedent from a previous decision to bring up.
I'm excited to see what you mean by this, because my week is not good. So
I wonder if maybe you've accepted it then. Maybe you have accepted it, and I just thought you were going to be unwilling to accept it.
No, here's the thing. We both feel very passionately about winning, but I feel very passionately about winning fairly. I don't know where Jay falls on that.
Sucker.
All right, this is why you're Team Batman and I'm Team Wonder Woman.
Yes. I mean, except in this universe, I don't know that tracks at all.
No, maybe not. But in any case, we are going to start off.
Batman, issue number 3. This is 13 plus, everybody. They're making that very clear on the covers now.
Yes.
As I've started to notice.
Violence.
So if you're 12, keep
Click
watching.
Away.
Tell people you're 13. But in any case, we kind of pick up right where we had left off in the previous issue, with young Bruce in the past. We see that Selina has stolen geek medal. He had a genius medal, and
I think you're being dismissive. It's like he won a prize for designing a collapsible bridge. It's not like,
I couldn't remember the name of it because I didn't put that in my notes here, and I said geek and then I realized, it was genius medal, wasn't it? I didn't put the name here. I just wrote medal, and then I went, people, that's not going to make sense to people, so let me explain. But
a medal for the very intuitive, or not intuitive, the very ingenious bridge design he came up with as an 11-year-old.
Yeah, but in any case, she stole this and she's running across the rooftops away from him. He's chasing her. She's encouraging him to ignore the danger and live in the moment. And he almost falls off a tripwire or a tightrope walking wire type thing. And she saves him. So right here in this first initial flashback scene, we have a point for appearance for Catwoman, point for appearance for Batman, and I think a named character save for Catwoman right there. So right off the bat, the computer's doing
coming out
very
with
well.
3 points.
Yeah, with that Catwoman pick already. But then we jump to the present, and we see Alfred and Batman are in the dump truck Batmobile, running down the street.
Which I
away from
still
the party.
can't deal with. Like, yeah, continue your summary for just a second so we can talk about this Batmobile more in depth.
Yeah. I have the scene break, so just like let me get through the scene, and then you can and I broke some of the scenes into multiple scenes, so there are places to talk. But in any case, Batman tells Alfred as they're running away and fighting these party animals, he wants him to make his case, because in the previous issue it said he'd give him 30 seconds to make his case as to why they should work together. So Alfred explains to him that he thinks Roman Sionis, the leader of the party animals, might be this black mask figure that his organization is after, who is the leader of a secret paramilitary group that is incredibly powerful, destabilizes governments, all that shady stuff. So this is an Alfred appearance. So this is my first break.
And a Bruce, and a Batman. Oh wait, Batman already got his.
Yeah.
Look, sometimes the man in the mask.
Yeah, if you want to talk about the Batmobile, here's your jump in.
I would love for you to talk about the Batmobile changing first before we get into the Batmobile.
Okay, so this is I somewhat glossed over in my summary because I wanted to go quick. The slight metamorphosis to more, I guess, Ben Affleck Batmobile is what I'd call that. Like that's the that's kind of the vibe where it's like not full
kind
tank,
of.
It's like it's angry Batmobile with a tank cannon thing on it.
Yeah.
And then Alfred gets into this gun tank cannon and starts mowing down Black Mask soldiers, as not actually mowing them down, because we're told that they shoot like little batarang things that electrocute them. So not actually
and
mowing
blow up their vehicles. They're getting mowed down.
That's what the book does. The book is it's one of those where it's like, we're not killing anybody despite the fact that we are very much killing people. Like that's what's going on. But in any case,
I feel like it kind of does itself a disservice though, because like right after Alfred's like, oh yeah, these mini bat projectiles with the electric charge designed to blow tires. Then we see them flying off of their flaming bikes. I'm like,
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. So he takes out those, and he basically tells Batman throughout this that he wants him to take the deal that Sionis had offered him at the end of the previous issue. And he thinks that if Batman takes that, it'll be a win-win, because the party animals will lower their tax in Gotham, and Batman will get paid a bunch of money that he can use to fund his quest as Batman. Mm-hmm. And then Alfred's organization will be able to track the money that Sionis is getting to pay Batman, and then take down Sionis via that. So right here in this little sequence, I think this is an Alfred mob fight 1.
I was going to say this is an Alfred and Bruce mob fight 1, but because they split, if they both do, it comes out to the same.
I went just Alfred because he's really the one doing the fighting here.
I guess, my thing. But
it makes no difference either way. But
exactly. For our point keepers at home, if two heroes work together on a fight, they have to split the winnings. Yes. So in either case, whether it's 4 and 4 or just a +8, that's a +8 points to Jay.
Good decision to put Alfred back in this week.
Yeah.
Right here. Yeah. But is there anything you want to say on that? Like you hit on the. Oh my
gosh! So the Batmobile is absurd. I can't deal with this Batmobile. Like, it fits so well for this character, for this, like, characterization of Batman, but watching it go from being, like, the size of a house to slightly smaller than the size of a house, I'm like, how is this thing fucking moving on the street? What the hell? It's a good thing there's no fucking street part.
I don't think it actually really, it just gets flatter.
It folds really down.
Yeah, like, it doesn't really get, so it just gets flatter. So it just looks like a scaled up Affleck Batmobile almost, but with still like the dump front on it. But it's got that,
it's just still so absurd to look at driving in the streets, and I'm like, it happened to me at the end of the last issue of Batman 2, where I'm like, for some reason, this is the hill that this is the
hill that Katie's gonna die on. She can't accept
this is the thing that I cannot conceptualize. What the hell am I looking at here? But I do think that it's a really interesting angle for them to be like imagine what Batman could be with all of this money, as like a little kind of nudge to like, We know what
So
Batman can do.
we'll
with all
see
of
how
his
much of a nudge
Uh,
it is. But
yeah,
in any
yeah.
case, the police then arrive on the scene, and they are able to corner the Batmobile at the end of this pier. And it seems like there's nowhere to go. So Alfred asks Batman if once again he has a clever way out, and Batman tells him, "Just pull that lever." And Alfred pulls it and is ejected into the air and eventually plummets into the water. And then Batman, like he did, in issue 1 when he just drove off the building, just drives off the pier. Like, that's a solution.
At least in this one, we see where he goes. We see where he lands.
Yes.
But it's still absolutely ridiculous. But it's in such a good and fun way. Like this is it's the classic thing of like, oh, Gordon's talking to Batman, and then he turns around and Batman's already gone.
Yeah.
This feels like that kind of classic level of like, oh, this is just fun Batman. Like, this man's gonna drive off a roof and we're gonna accept that he's fine.
Oh yeah. But then he drives into like a little pipe that leads to a little, another one of Batcaves, and we see like, I don't know if they're meant to be just big, but we see several other Batmobile-like vehicles in this little enclosure. So I'm like, does he have like 3 of these
Look at that.
huge-ass Batmobiles? Because that's wild to me if he does.
Bonkers.
Or if those are meant to be like his bikes or whatever. Because it's a small panel, so it's hard to tell if they're meant to be like the same size or whatever. But if he just has like 3 of these giant-ass Batmobiles, that is an utterly wild thing. I do like, though, we had like little hearts except that I will say it is kind of a solution of where the hell he hides the giant ass, thing.
That is
under the wall.
Fair. That is
fair. Because you're talking like, where does he put this during the day when he is not actively using it? We got that answer, so I'll give them a little thumbs up on that.
That's fair. It does raise the question of when he isn't driving off of a pier to escape, how is he, parking this? But
he just has to go back. He goes back to the pier every time. He's got at the end of the night, drives off the pier. But anyway, we go back to the past, and Bruce is asking Selina about her living situation. We learn that she is no longer living with the latest foster family, and she has gone through 4 foster families in the last year. Also here, we see her with a group of stray cats because, Catwoman. And
she's Selina.
Yeah. And she turns down Bruce's offer to live with him and his mother because, independence.
In like a really sad way.
Yeah, very, very sad. And
it
then
made me sad.
She leads him to what I think is meant to be the zoo, but it's like a theater in the zoo.
Yeah, I had a weird moment with that too, where I'm like,
me too. Yeah, I had a moment.
There's not a lot of indication that it's the zoo. They just talk about the zoo.
Her dialogue makes it seem like it's the zoo, which is the weird. I guess the zoo could have like how aquariums have like the
but that doesn't explain how the zoo has a copy of Zorro.
Oh, that I don't know. That I think was just like Selina doing that. Like I don't think wherever they go would have a thing. Like I think Selina like put that in the project. Like that's my thing. And in any case, they break into this theater that I think is supposed to be in the zoo.
It's not super important.
It's not super important. And Zorro is like queued up to play on the projector.
The big screen.
On the big screen. But back in the present, we get Bruce visiting Edward Nygma. And Edward is working on building an AI/android that he calls Al.
God, he's written to be insufferable, and Scott Snyder is too good at his job.
But in any case, Bruce takes this opportunity to ask Al about how the party animals, as he calls them, ape skulls work. Interesting to, get the, I guess, name of that.
Clearly, my new draft pick for next season is going to be Gorilla Grodd.
Gorilla Grodd, that's the play. But anyway, we learn that it's connected to something called Black Coin, and the wearers get objectives that pay different amounts of this Black Coin depending on like what
cryptocurrency.
Yeah, depending on like what job they do, destruction, like killing certain people, whatever. But Ed is actually like really on Bruce's case to like drop this. He's like, you need to stop looking into this. You need to stop asking about this. But kind of as that's heating up, Batman gets, or Bruce in this instance, gets a call from Harvey Dent, who explains that he looked into the Arc-M fund like Bruce had asked him to. And he learned that their funding comes from a company called JK Holdings. And JK is known for building private prisons, specifically black sites. So that's a very interesting turn of events. Then we jump to
And
former
very
mayor.
importantly, I'm so sorry to cut you off. Very importantly, Harvey refers to the judge he's going to talk to as someone who hates his face, and I'm like, you're gonna get fucked up for doing this hard?
Potentially. But anyways, we then jump to the former Mayor Hill meeting with Commissioner Bullock. And he basically brings Bullock to Roman Sionis, who is wearing his black mask skull fully like out there, and is beating up a like professional boxer or former professional boxer. And while he's fighting this boxer, he is offering Bullock like to help with getting him resources that he had been requesting to help fight the party animals. And during this, he chokes the first he snaps the boxer's arm, but
then he snaps his fucking leg.
Yeah, and then he chokes him to like a unconscious but also he's probably dead state.
He's so dead.
And Bullock is concerned, but Sionis kind of hand waves it as he's gonna be fine.
Which I will say, I believe is a fight one for Black Mask. That's a little +5 moment for me.
That's a little +5 moment.
I also want to huge shouts to Nick Dragata, who won again in this issue, is just cramming these pages full of panels, and it's so delightful to see. Yeah. But also the subtle characterization and immense disrespect with the way that he has former Mayor Hill button his jacket. I saw that on the page and I literally laughed. I was like, what the fuck? Because it's so disrespectful. He like has him button it above his belly so it splits out. It just makes him look so slimy. You can tell that the character description that Scott Snyder gave was slimy used car salesman, and Nick Dragata got that on lock. It was phenomenal.
Dragata does a lot of great work with the character designs, just with a lot of little stuff there. But in any case, we then see Bruce like setting up a like camera telescope. It's a camera, but he's using it as a telescope.
I think it's one of those like a survey thing. Like I got the sense that he's doing this with like his job equipment.
Yeah.
Like I think it's something that
basically everything he's doing with his job equipment. Yeah. But in any case, he is like looking into the black site that's being built in Gotham, and we see Alfred is tailing him, and as usual we get our Alfred captions, and Alfred's explaining that these black sites are called arcs, and they've been built all across the world, and we're up to Arc M, which will be the biggest ever being built in Gotham.
But also, big wink wink nudge nudge, the first is in Santa Prisca, so we might be getting Bane coming in.
I mean, there's a lot of things where we can go. Like we might be, and I don't know that we're getting there yet. I think Scott Snyder's just like,
I don't mean like immediately, but just as like in this brand new universe, choose Santa Prisca, it's like, oh, someone's got Bane on the mind, Bane on the brain.
Bane on the brain. But in any case, in the past, we get this nice moment where Bruce like wants to leave, but it turns out all of his friends are actually in the theater, and they kind of set this up, so they force him to stay and watch the movie, which is a nice.
And his mom is there too, which is very sweet to me, because this is like after his dad has died, and she knows that he's on the struggle bus, so she like helped the friend set this up. I wonder if she knew that Selina was going to ask him to walk across like a laundry line 2 stories above
I think she would have left that detail out. The panel of the mom just like in the rows though in the back is like weirdly creepy to me. It's just like,
I loved it. I was like, oh, peak mom energy.
I thought the close up like after that was very sweet, but I don't know, the one of her just like alone in the stands is like oof.
That's fair. I'm just looking at that and I'm like, that reminds me of when my mom would take me somewhere and she'll be like, okay, you do whatever it is you want. You go into the comic convention. I'm gonna sit over here. I have my book.
But in any case, we come back to the present and we see Bruce going to his mother, and he's trying to convince her to lay low for a little while because things are getting dicey. But instead, she's doing the opposite, and she's becoming Gordon's deputy mayor, which is wild. But in any case, at the same time, Alfred is going to what appears to be a school, and he's watching this teacher named Julia, who presumably is his daughter.
Yeah.
And just very stalkerishly, very similar to Bruce's mom. Lots of stalkers in the last couple pages. But in any case, we kind of like last note we get is we see that Mayor Hill has gotten Bullock's endorsement, and Bruce calls Black Mask to tell him that he will take his deal, and that's where we end. That's where we end this one.
I love this last page so much. I feel like it's so the way that we see Bruce
It's
sitting
very
in the dark, like it's this one fucking panel of him like with his head between his arms, just
yeah.
like that.
With the red
Ooh,
like background, it's
yeah,
very
it's
nice.
so like emotionally charged because the ape mask is sitting there like staring at him as he like has this, he's on the phone with Black Mask and Black Mask is like goading him. Oh, I love this last page. It's so gorgeous. Nick
Yeah.
Shigato, amazing. I will miss you next
Can I
month.
throw out the one? Can I throw out the one thing that I'm thinking? Because I'm wondering if you're thinking too. Like, I'm sorry, Alfred. You think he might be Black Mask? They all wear black masks. He's got a big honking black mask.
Look, like he made the connection.
I'm sorry.
Like I understand.
It's a little
I
comic
understand.
booky
Like,
thing. It's
okay,
fine, but I wanted to say it.
it is ridiculous and it's beautiful and I love it. No, I really like this issue of Absolute
This is
Batman.
great.
It's a little less actiony than the previous issue, but I actually like that a lot.
I mean, it's kind of just inverted, where we like really open with the action, and then we kind of like cool down throughout the issue.
Yeah.
But I think that's
fair because it is like a third of the issue that is that initial car chase.
When you have an issue with like this, like it makes sense to be like, okay, we won't finish the action in the last issue, so it can eat into this, so we still get it, but it's just up front.
And we had like the even though it wasn't like it wasn't I wonder who's gonna win. Actually, we did have the really interesting like action of the Black Mask wrestling spot, and it was just a really good like it feels like such a good build into where the plot is going, which is why it's extra rude. I believe issue 4 is a year 1, isn't it?
I believe so. Yes, I think it's 4. It's definitely one of the upcoming issues, either 4. I think it's 4 though. That is supposed to be like a year 1 thing with Dragata taking an issue break.
Yeah. Which I think is so rude, but also so effective right here. Like this is such a good like point for it to be like, okay, and flashback.
It's always what we talked about before. Where it's like, oh no, cliffhanger, and then we're gonna get a full issue of like not following up on the cliffhanger, and then another thing. But like, it is effective.
I feel like this one works.
It's effective.
We'll see what year 1 does, but I think it works.
Yeah, in any case, what's up next, Katie?
Did you have any? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to not give you a chance. Did you have any general thoughts?
Okay. I think it was a very, very solid issue. I think I really like the way that it ramped things. I really like an Alfred. I love this take on Alfred. I think he's very interesting. And I've been enjoying Bruce's Rogues Gallery as his friends. Like, I think that's been
so good.
Such a fun turn of like it's just a very fun way to play there. It's like because also Scott Snyder keeps giving us the like wink wink nudge nudges, like you mentioned the Two-Face face thing. Like you keep getting a little and like Edward Gamber has a line in here about how he's been really like obsessed with riddles recently. Like
and you keep covering the fucking robot in question marks like a loser.
Getting those things of like, oh yeah, they this isn't like a alternate universe thing where they aren't themselves and like they're just his friends instead. Like no, this is just a universe where I think deeply tragically all of his friends are going to become all of his villains, and
it's going to be so good.
This poor man.
Oh, it's going to be so good. Are you ready for my little theory?
Yeah.
I think he's going to be the catalyst for that. Like, because I think it would be too coincidental.
He's just going to drop them all in acid at the same time.
I think it'll be too coincidental for him to like be friends with all these people who then become like the big rogues of Gotham. I think either he's gonna redistribute the Sionis money to them and they're gonna like all fuck around with that, or they're all gonna get like attacked because his identity gets revealed or something.
If it's the like, Sionis money thing, I think then you could get the one like, oh, that's why Catwoman will be the one who doesn't because she'll turn it down. But also, I know it's Scott Snyder writing it. Catwoman's gonna be evil. Like it's just Scott Snyder. I think is iconically saying Batman does not deserve like a wife and kids and does not like deserve a happy ending. So I don't. Maybe this is the universe where he's willing to give it to him, but I doubt it.
It would be a weird choice. But my like we obviously don't have like a non fantasy scoring bets going or anything. But after this issue, top of my list, I'm like, oh, Bruce isn't gonna get to have a secret identity in this book. I'm so sure of it. I really think his identity is going to be public.
I don't know that I see Scott Snyder doing that, but we'll see. We'll see.
I'm calling it now. Issue 3. I'm calling your shot, Mr. Snyder.
I called something, I think, in one of these issues. Like, that's my big call. I don't remember what it is, so I won't
Me
remember
either.
if I got it right. But I think I had a call. I think at the end of like the issue, I think it was a Superman thing that I felt very strongly about, but
Maybe.
I don't remember it anymore. So,
Um,
in any case, do you
but
want to
I
talk to us
believe
about?
you're
Yeah,
coming out of this with 8 points, and I'm coming out with 6.
I'm
And
coming
the
out of
bot is
this
coming out with
with
3. I'm sorry, 10
10
points.
points. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't factor in your appearance points.
I get appearance points.
You do get appearance points, because I was doing because on my little list, I have it as 5 and 5, and I was like, oh shit, we changed the math to 8 and something. And so I decided that something was 0. But we're going to jump over to Absolute Wonder Woman now. This is Absolute Wonder Woman issue 3. I mean, we talked about the two of them enough that I feel like it would have come through even if we
Oh yes, Scott Snyder and Nick
done it up top.
Dragotta.
Yeah.
And do you want to tell us these creators?
Absolute Wonder Woman comes to us from Kelly Thompson and Hayden Sherman, and it's another one where we kind of pick up
We pick up right on Barbara Gordon.
What? Barbara.
That's my first thought. Like, redhead Barbara. Like, you're just gonna start there. I was like, that's where we start.
No, you goober, it's Cheetah.
I know, but I was like, I'm going. Barbara
I got
Gordon.
so excited as soon as I saw her. But yeah, while
Because
Batman is taking place,
the art. I don't know if you did enough. Art gave me such Barbara Gordon vibes in this.
That's
in this
super
movie.
fair.
I was like,
but
that
like
is Barbara
nerdy ass redhead named Barbara, it's not a far leap to
Very fair.
But while Batman is taking place over a course of like weeks, if not more, Wonder Woman is like taking place over the course of like an hour, which is so wild. Because it's doing a lot of like flashbacks.
We get all the
stuff.
flashbacks.
Yeah. So that's why I was
all
amending
three books,
myself.
by the way, have flashbacks. Wow.
They do, yeah. I guess to like really center us on who these characters are.
Yeah.
But that's why I was about to say we pick up right where we left off, which isn't really true. Just in the fact that this book is taking place over the course of like an hour or two. Plot-wise, we're still about where we left off. But we open on the Gateway City Natural History Museum, and we see Barbara Minerva, Cheetah, is fully freaking out because she sees Diana on the big screen and is like, oh shit, Wonder Woman, and books it, which was such a good like opening stinger to me. I loved it so much. And then we get our beloved appearance point for Katie as Wonder Woman flies onto the scene. She confronts the military forces here because she has just had her first brush with Tetracide, who, if we want to be silly, we can say gets their first appearance point right here as the looming figure in the background. They show up later, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, they're getting the point. Like, who cares where we put it specifically?
Exactly. And she is telling them, these soldiers, that they need to leave immediately because the Tetracide kills in 4 stages: death of fear, death of mind, death of body, and death of soul. So this thing is going to start putting out this weird sound emanation that is going to create a death of fear, which is going to lure people towards it. And then they're going to lose their minds as they are unable to do anything but go towards it. And then they're going to lose their body when they touch it, and it ingests them, I think was her word, which is horrifying. And then death of soul, which is kind of vague, but we get it. We also here we keep making allusions to the fact that the way that Hayden Sherman's been doing their layouts has been very like Greek and Roman vase inspired.
Yeah, we get
and we get an actual little vase moment.
Yeah.
Super duper fun. But yeah, so she's like, okay, you need to get out of here, and I'm gonna go fight the Tetracide and die, but hopefully you'll be able to get away while I go die. And what happens after that, Diana? Not her problem. She's gonna be dead. But naturally, Steve Trevor goes chasing after her because he doesn't want her to go and die. She has a nice little moment where she sends Pegasus away as well as Steve, and has her little... Yeah, she goes to fucking die. She attaches her lasso to her Buster Sword and, like, throws it at the guy, the Tetracide, and then, like, flies around to wrap him up. It's very, very, like, I think kind of classic superhero vibe.
I mean, it's a classic Superman. Like it's
Yeah.
very classic Superman.
Big Superman energy. Yeah. Like
Whooshing
the
around.
just going around. And good old
Yeah.
Pegasus, shout out, is like spitting hellfire. But unfortunately, this bad boy uses one of his little tentacles, gets that sword out of him, and then gets his little handsies on Wonder Woman. And as we know, as soon as it touches you, it starts to ingest you. And we cut to flashback, so we don't get to know what happens quite yet.
Yes.
And we are yet again fighting the Hydra. Now, I did go back and check. I believe this is a different Hydra fight than the one that we saw previously.
Okay.
And because the bot is not...
In this one.
I was going to say, because the bot is not playing Steve, I don't think Diana has to split the points.
No. Does not matter if they are not being...
Is that true?
played. Yes, 100% true. You don't get to be like, oh, because nobody's playing this character. He still exists. Just because nobody happened to be playing him doesn't mean he doesn't exist. If I, wasn't playing Alfred this week, that doesn't mean that then suddenly, Alfred isn't entitled to his points. That's not how fantasy things work.
Okay,
just because somebody's playing a person doesn't mean they get...
It's our first... Does fantasy normally split people's points? As we know, I know nothing about fantasy football.
In theory, I'd say.
Theory? Okay, beautiful.
Yeah, like if a quarterback throws a touchdown to a receiver, in theory, that's kind of split points. So yeah.
Is it, or does one of them get points for throwing the touchdown and the other get points for catching it? Well, I don't know how it works.
As the quarterback gets less points for throwing it than they would get for catching it or running it in themselves, I'd say it's split points.
In any case, this is not fantasy football. This is ours, and this is the first time we've had a non-played character in a fight with somebody else. And if the establishment is that we split points, that is the establishment,
as long as
and that's
it is
fine.
a named character that we would deem like pickable, like they are a player character, a playable character. That's like the important thing. Because like if there was like a random civilian that punches somebody before a thing, I don't think that counts. But I think it's important as long as they are a character that we would consider draftable, because then they exist as a player.
Okay, I don't know about that, but
that's a very important distinction. Very important distinction.
I don't know about that because what if I feel like this is leaning very Batman heavy because if
Batman's working with
a bunch of civilians come in and start mobbing people. Or I feel like applies he's more likely to have a civilian.
I think that's most likely for Superman.
Honestly. Oh, that's fair with the absolute Superman.
Yeah.
This week this month he wasn't in the Earth world at all, so I wasn't thinking about that. But okay, fine. If it's a named character who could have been draft picked,
yes,
fine.
Very.
How do we want to settle the split then? Because it's 5 points.
You can take the 3. Okay. Wonder Woman did most of the work here.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so that's 3 points for Diana.
Yeah.
This time she didn't save Steve, so she doesn't get the points for that.
No.
But they have a conversation about how love is transformative and how the surface world needs more of that, yada yada, and how she's literally living in hell right now, and isn't that crazy? It is. And then we cut away. She's been doing some studying, and Diana has found a spell to actually send Steve back to the world of the living because he's been stuck in the underworld with them.
Yep.
But it does require a sacrifice, which Cersei, her mother, insists that she does not understand.
Yeah. She's like, no, don't do that. You don't want to do that.
And then Diana says, okay, bet. Cersei wakes up in the middle of the night. Diana has cut her own arm off as the sacrifice needed.
Her dominant arm.
Yes. Yeah. And she uses that as the sacrifice so she and Cersei can send Steve back to the land of the living. Now, this one I wasn't sure about. I think that this could be counted as saving a character.
I wrote this down as saving Steve. Absolutely.
I thought so too.
Like that's literally the whole thing is her saying she has to save Steve here. I think.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were going to try to be pedantic about it.
I'm not. I just am hard on the rules, and I think sometimes, Katie, you just don't want to admit what's actually going on.
I think you're selectively hard on the rules. But in any case,
you could be talking about.
Diana doesn't even get to say goodbye to Steve, but when Cersei says that she's sorry Diana didn't get to say goodbye, Diana simply says that she will see him again. And we cut back to the present. The arm that the Tetracite has grabbed is the illusory magic-built arm that she and Cersei had. I guess not illusory, but fake arm action. So she's able to drop out and get away without being ingested. However, because she is running from this fight, I
She lost
still counted it as a loss.
She
Yeah.
lost. This was where I was gonna be like, this was my president. I was like, she was restrained. We counted that as a lost fight for Superman in the first, Superman issue. I think this is a strong.
The fact that she was restrained and then ran away is absolutely a loss. Yeah.
I will say, with her then just like not having an arm after this, where we go, that like, I am heavy on the illusion was just so the book could be like solicited with her without like spoiling the fact that she was not gonna have an arm. Like
maybe
very...
I think it'll depend on what they do to get the arm back.
I don't think she's getting it back.
See, I don't think so either, but I think it's weird because I think it would have been a cool marketing thing to be like, oh, and Wonder Woman has one arm. Like, I feel like that's something they would have leaned into as like
spoil the like sacrifice scene because they were doing the flashback.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm like, I think that's the only reason they did the whole illusion thing, and I'm like, oh, that's weird.
Maybe. We'll see.
Or magic. It wasn't an illusion. It was a magic arm. But she was using it.
Yeah.
Like, it did exist.
Yeah, and she says that she can get it back, but it's like complicated magic.
Yeah.
So my thought, if we want to get into theorizing, because I've always got my little theory caps off of these, I think it's going to be some weird thing where Cheetah somehow taps into Amazon magic and gets her arm back, and it's going to be like a big plot shifting thing. But we'll see, because we also didn't get to see her using her robot arm like a whole lot, so it could be that arm doesn't like work as well.
Do you want to tell people that she gets a robot arm before you?
Oh yeah. So she comes back with no arm, and she whips out of her little bag of holding there. I call it a bag of holding because it also had a fucking axe in it, which we love to see. It's just fully a bag of holding. She whips out this like mechanical arcane arm. It's like made of metal, but it has like this green fire that powers it, and she gestures it around very, very competently. So it seems that this is a functional arm. And she yet again tears into the soldiers for not having left yet. Because she's like, God damn it, I told you needed to leave, and you are still here, and you're all gonna get devoured. Steve, yet again, is like, wait, I don't want to leave you here alone. And Diana has a nice little moment where she's like, and that's why you were like worth saving. And it's like, okay, that's very nice. And she leaves Steve, because frankly, what's he gonna do against the Tetracide, right? Then we have the return of Barbara as Wonder Woman is leaving this little bar. They absolutely run into each other in the most like meet cute moment in the world. I'm like, oh my gosh, Wonder Woman, stop having romantic chemistry with everyone. Oh my word. And we learn that Barbara dubs Diana Wonder Woman as per the Amazonian myths, because I could be wrong. Do you remember if she had said Wonder Woman before?
No, this is their naming of her.
Yes, I believe so as well. I just wanted to fact check myself. But Barbara reveals that is the name of the champion of the Amazons, which Diana absolutely latches onto. She's like, hell yeah, I'm Wonder Woman now. Because I believe she calls herself Wonder Woman later. The Tetracide is kind of a ever-present threat, and it's going to start making its weird little noise to draw everybody in. So Diana reaches into her bag of holding again and pulls out a magic potion, which is a little wild. I was going to
call it a magic bomb. It's a full like orb or a magic water balloon.
It does look like a little like alchemist fire moment.
Yeah.
But instead of it being a bomb, she goes and interrupts the newscasters, who had been kind of a framing device for the book thus far, so it's fun to have them then interact.
Instead of it being a bomb?
Yeah, instead of it being a bomb, we're throwing it at the Tetracide. She flies up to the broadcasters and uses the magic from this little potion bottle to cast a spell to deafen the entire city.
As a bomb. She throws it on the ground and it explodes down over the city.
That is very fair. That's so fair, actually.
I'm sorry, that'll be pedantic on because you were like, instead of, I'm like, she throws that thing fully like a bomb and it go boom.
I guess instead of it being like a bomb to destroy the Tetracide, it's
Yeah.
like, oh, okie dokie, she's going to deafen the entire city, and she does this whole message beforehand that she ends off with Wonder Woman believes in you. So her, adopting that Wonder Woman mantle.
Yeah.
And yeah, she smashes it at her feet, and the entire city is going to be deaf so that the Tetracide's horrible squeaky can't get them. Which is pretty rad.
Very rad.
We love a creative solution. Yeah, I really enjoyed this issue of Absolute Wonder Woman. I think that Hayden Sherman, the layouts continue to be super excited. I felt very like, oh my god, you did the thing when I saw the vase, and that was fun. And I'm really excited, right? And I'm really excited to see what Barbara Minerva, aka Cheetah's role is going to be in this universe.
Are you thinking it's going to be more adversarial or potentially ally?
I think they're going to be girlfriends, personally. I think Steve Trevor's going to die, and that's going to be out of the way.
I asked you what you think is going to happen, not what you want to happen.
I can think and want the same thing. It's called manifesting. Or rather, demanifesting.
Demanifesting. But in any case, it's going to be very important to because I assume that's going to be one of the CPUs next week.
Yes, yeah. My bid thus far is Riddler and Cheetah.
I don't.
I guess Edward and Barbara.
Okay, it's interesting because I think we're gonna have opposite ideas on what role they should have, which won't really matter. But in any case,
interesting.
But
in any case, we're coming out of Absolute Wonder Woman. I'm getting +1 point from Diana. She appeared. So good. She got her arm eaten. She killed a Hydra, and she saved Steve from the underworld.
Yeah, that is plus. Well, I don't know why in my like added tally I didn't add the saved character points.
Yeah. So that's the +2 for saving a named character.
Yeah. That's why I was like, I had that off. But anyway,
but then the bot is coming out with +6 from the Tetracide, with +1 for its appearance and +5 for eating Diana's arm. I'm a little mad.
Shockingly, though, it didn't kill any civilians.
It didn't kill a single civilian. Yeah, no, it didn't do much.
It didn't do much.
But that when your entire first arc is going to be set over the course of an hour, how much can it do?
How much can it really do? No, I thought it would have gotten some civilians there, especially with the build. I thought, like, as we were going through
I thought it was going to get a bunch of soldiers.
I thought that there was going to be some amount of civilians or soldiers or some. So I thought there were going to be some casualties. I thought we were going to get some points for the Tetracide there. We did not. But let's jump to Absolute Superman. Okay, so we are going to jump to Absolute Superman number 3. Where we start on Krypton in the past, lots of flashbacks in these series, and we learned that Kal-El was both deemed too uncoordinated for the Law Guild, and his grades were too low for the Science Guild. But in a very kid manner, he's like, "That's okay because I'd only ever want to be in the Labor Guild anyway."
I'm happy where I am. Nothing bad could ever happen to the Labor Guild.
In an incredibly sad way, he then says. His parents are the only 2 friends he has.
Here's the thing. My favorite thing was that I read that as, oh, clearly you're talking about Krypto as one of them. Which of your parents isn't your friend? No, I think he was actually talking about Krypto and whatever that monkey thing is from the panel before. And like maybe in initial drafts, the monkey thing was more important, or maybe it did stuff in the previous. Because, like, I can't imagine he wouldn't count Krypto as his friend.
I don't think he's counting Krypto. I think it's very clearly his parents, because it's a shot of, like, the 3 of them with Krypto there. I think it's meant to be his 2 parents.
I'm mortified by that. Like, Krypto is your bestie, dude. What the fuck?
Man's best friend, but not Kal-El.
Not Superman's best friend.
But in any case, they all go on this camping trip in the Rao Mountains. Jor-El and Laura tell Kal that they're actually proud of him for writing his own reports instead of using the Science Guild's Luminarium to write them, which was a little bit of a minor plot point in the previous issue. So we get a Superman appearance to start it off. There's your immediate +1 point for the bot. Good for the bot. But then both on their camping trip and in the foreseeing weeks, Kal notes his parents are starting to act very strangely. His father was taking samples from deep in the mountains during their trip. And then once they get back, his parents are laser focused on work, building something. Laura and Jor-El are clearly getting ready for something big. and Laura's like pushing Jor-El to make sure that he is willing to stop just trying to reason with the Science Guild, basically if shit hits the fan. And we don't ever really see that Jor-El is necessarily ready for that, but Laura very clearly is. But in any case, young Cal then discovers like dead animals and crops across Krypton with this like green gas coming off everything in these beautiful pages. By the way,
oh my gosh, we keep
important. Absolute Superman is by Jason Aaron and I'm gonna thank you.
Right?
I believe so.
I wasn't looking at it, so I could be
Rafa Sandoval. Yes.
Yeah.
And in any case, now I scrolled all the way to the credits, so I gotta get back in here. But in any case, the Science League kind of puts out a news thing that says this is not unusual and it's just a natural gas leak and everybody should go about their business as if nothing's going wrong. Clark goes on a field trip to Kandor, little Kandor reference there.
Yeah,
and on this trip, Cal starts writing about what he's seeing, the gas, the deaths, etc. And he posts
it. Journalist.
Being a little journalist. And he posts it to the school's news board. But by the time they actually reach Kandor on this trip, it has been deleted off of the school board, and an appointment has been set for his parents to see the school administrator.
Yeah.
And
I like. Sorry, not to cut you off. I like because I feel like before the way that they were doing the like, oh, Cal's not a good student thing was a little boring. I like this is because it was like, oh, Cal's just like not paying attention in class, or we just hear that he has written his report himself, and it's like, okay, that's like a little boring, you know.
No.
With the like, oh,
Cal here.
Exactly, and he's like taking action. And it feels much more, like, inspired. I was like, oh yeah, that's our young Superman. What a great kid.
Agreed. I like this a lot more. And they reach this tour at the Halls of High Wisdom, where Clark is not very interested compared to everybody else who wants to be a part of the Science Guild, until he sees guards dragging his father through the hallway as his father's, like, pleading with them to listen to him about the research. They call him a heretic and say that you know, he's making all this up or whatever. And Cal... for the first time ever, according to his captions, raises his voice and he strikes the guard. But of course, he is a child, and he's
so he just gets the little sound effect he gets is just a little smack, and it killed me.
Yeah. In my opinion, this is a fight lost for Superman right there. He was unable to save his father. He lost that fight to the guards. He threw a strike. That's a fight lost right there.
Okay, that's fair, because I was going back and forth because I think that something later then might even it back out.
I mean, if you want, we can split it with Jor-El, and he can only lose 2 out of the 5 points. As we have,
that's fine. Yeah, he can lose 2 points for this.
Diana, so it helps him out here. And because Jor-El, I think, is the bigger player, he gets the 3 compared to the 2. So only 2 lost here for young Kal-El.
2 down.
But anyway, young Kal-El runs home to his mother to tell her what happened, and she gets in this awesome suit and gets this huge ass blaster, and she warns Cal that if anything goes wrong, he's got to come back to the garage and call for Soul. We then get Soul, who obviously we know is like the suit in the modern era. We get a little bit of a caption from Soul who speaks, but Cal does not really have time to understand what's going on in this very hectic moment. And then Cal, Krypto, and Lara go to the Law Guild office, and after confirming...
I don't think Lara's I don't think Cal's supposed to be there, is he?
No, she said come with me and then run back. She specifically tells him to run back if things go wrong. She says she wants him with her.
Oh shit, I glossed over that. I thought he was being a little shit and following after. Never mind.
No, she specifically says she wants him with her, which, you know, for once actually is like a nice thing of like, oh no, that track, she has the mega suit and lava blaster and like, yeah. But in any case, we'll get to the lava blaster right now, because after confirming that Jor-El is there, which was a very nice like off-panel dialogue thing, where it's just like you hear them confirming that Jor-El's there before the shit hits the fan.
Yeah.
Like, Lara made sure that she wasn't just gonna like fuck shit up for no reason. But then she blasted it, shooting literal lava out of this gun at guards, which is one of the coolest fucking things.
I love
just everything on Krypton this issue looked so freaking good.
So cool.
It was incredible.
And Krypto's there because he's his best friend.
And Krypto and Lara make very short work of these guards, and they get Jor-El out. But during this breakout, Cal threatens one of the guards by saying, like, I'll tell my mom to beat you up, which was so funny if he doesn't give him his passcode. and Cal is able to log into the computers at this law office, and on them he sees starships, and he's surprised that they would have that, that the Lara Guild would be involved with that. But we kind of leave there for on that little note of, well, what's going on there. But basically, as they return home, Cal has come to the realization, seemingly through the information that he got, that Krypton is dying. And he thinks his parents are going to use his mom's suit to send him off-world alone. But they actually say, no, why would we ever do that? A very nice sidestepping of the typical origin. And we learn that they have built this huge ship, and they're going to be taking as many neighbors and friends and stuff as they can fit in this ship, which is a nice beat.
I love it, yeah.
Yeah, and then Jor-El jumps to figuring out that the Science Guild has, not figuring out, but he sees post online that the Science Guild has been secretly building their own ships to get the upper classes off-world without telling the lower classes about it. And him and Laura realize that this information was posted from the Central Law Office, and thus it was Cal who actually posted this while they were there, which was
like an absolute goober. I will say, I don't know, do you think that Cal's involvement in the saving of Jor-El should even his points back out, like his -2 from before?
No.
I guess he didn't save really...
Jor-El. No, it's split amongst Laura and Crypto. He releases the information.
Okay, fair enough.
He's not involved. He very importantly was like off to the side. If he was even like a little bit of, if he threw a punch like he did in the Jor-El thing, even if it's completely useless, I would have been like, he deserves even like one of the points. But
okay,
he gets it here. But yeah, then we jump to the present, and in an assisted living facility in Kansas, we see an old woman
in Smallville specifically.
In Smallville, presumably Martha Kent. Very, very Martha Kent looking. And she calls for her sweet angel boy, and the story ends there.
Yeah. And I will say her little her medical bracelet says M. Kent.
Does it? Oh, I completely missed that. This is my gloss over where you had the the Sumi there. I completely didn't notice that. Let me scroll there. Oh yeah, it does, and it's like focused on there too. I think just the way that like my eyes tracked from the bubbles to the hand to the next, like I just didn't.
That's so fair.
I fully missed that.
But the next is very exciting. The next is the coming of the Omega Man. Okay. I liked this issue of Absolute Superman quite a bit more than I've liked the previous ones.
I thought it was phenomenal.
I think that not splitting it between Earth and Krypton was a really good change.
Yeah, I think we talked about how not necessarily the page, but just like the structuring of the issues because of the way that they were playing between the past and the present just wasn't quite clicking for us. So I agree with you. I think that's the big thing.
Yeah. Here. So I think this is the best issue of Absolute Superman yet.
Oh, easily. This was
unfortunately
really
not even an appearance from Peacemaker though.
No, but I'll take it. I'll take a 0.
Right? I'll take a 0. Yeah. Especially after getting 10 from Batman and Alfred.
Yeah.
But Superman coming out here with a -1.
A -1. Yeah, that's rough for him. But yeah, this was a great issue. I really felt like all the concepts that I was saying I really enjoyed from the like Krypton stuff, but just they didn't feel like they had the time or the ability to actually execute it based on space. Finally, we got the space here to. It's very funny that next week's going to be like the year 1 for Batman because we basically got the Superman equivalent here.
Yeah.
Or next month rather. This was just great. All the concepts finally like actually felt real instead of just being told to us. Like we felt it. We got to see the young Kal-El and how he was acting. Laura is fucking awesome in this issue. Like I
was gonna say you touched on it before, but there's this amazing like I'll call it a half splash, I guess, of her with like the full like cowl up on her super suit.
Yeah,
with her like cape all around her and that sick
ears even coming out of it.
Cannon. Oh my god!
On that. Yeah, I love the lava.
So good, so good.
It's fantastic. The ship too. When we get to the ship, that's like basically a splash with an inlaid, which is super nice. Rafa Sandoval, like I think I said that from issue 1. Like just Rafa Sandoval is a phenomenal Superman art. Like the way that he's drawing,
amazing like sci-fi artist.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The way he's drawing like all the sci-fi stuff and the like specifically and credit to Ulysses Areola.
The color.
Yeah, the colorist.
Yeah.
For the way those like lava bits are, because there's a lot of things that get this like lava coloring between the suits and the gun and all of that, and it all looks so vibrant and so great. But yeah, this was honestly one of my favorite of all the Absolute issues so far. Just in general.
Honestly,
Like,
same. It was an
this
incredibly
really,
strong
really
issue.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I
But, yeah.
still think that the stuff with the like hive knowledge brain is still a little on the nose. But that's okay. It's fine. But yeah,
Fine.
I liked it quite a bit.
Quite a bit.
But Jay, would you like to start talking about the score?
Yeah, I'm gonna share the screen so that people can see what we're doing here. Hopefully I don't fuck anything up. Is that looking good? Is that looking good right there?
That's looking good.
All right. I should probably actually. Well, we'll see how this works. I'm gonna try to make it a more typical shape for how we do things. But in any case, yeah. So we're gonna. Should we jump to your team first here? Or
Yeah, let's jump to my team.
Yeah,
I did fill them in already.
You did your week 4. You really filled it in. That's why I was like looking at the blank.
Yeah. Sorry about that. We had a little momentary break in the middle. I was like, might as well. So not a great week for old Katie.
Not a great week for old Katie.
Wonder Woman got me 1 point. Jim Gordon didn't appear, so he got me 0. Black Mask came through this week, though. He got me 6 after being a little quiet last week. And that means that I only got 7 points this week. So I'm sitting at 34, which is not great.
Not great.
No.
We're going to jump to me. I got 10 points this week, 5 from Batman, 5 from Alfred, not even an appearance point from Peacemaker's a little rough, but that's going to put me at 33 on the total.
A point, just one behind.
One
which is
behind you.
Very different from my 4-point lead from last week. So I'm feeling the sweat.
You're feeling the pressure. We're going to jump to the bot. And the bot is up to 35 in first, even with the negative Superman score. But we're all tight now. I want to point out, though, that I believe this is now the second week in a row that I've won. I have 2 week wins right now, and yet I'm still that very rough first week still has me coming up the rear overall here. But do we want to go over each of our teams and then get into what we're going to assign as the bots team here? So you already have.
So my team is going to be pretty boring. I'm keeping it the same. My alternates are Brainiac and Hippolyta, who has shown no signs of even showing up. So I'm hoping to stick with my thought
we got the little Amazons We
did, and I do think she's going to eventually be a part of it, but I don't think she's coming yet. So I'm gonna keep banking on Jim Gordon. I think especially if we're going into a year 1 Batman week, maybe we'll get some Jim Gordon action there, like when he is a cop.
We might get Jim Gordon the cop. Yeah.
Exactly.
Not a bad play.
I am worried that with year 1 Batman, it's going to be Jim Gordon the cop, and he's going to get saved a lot instead of actually doing the saving. But I'm gonna take that risk. But I think because it's year 1, I think I'm gonna swap out Black Mask for Brainiac.
Okay, that was gonna be my question. Was going with Black Mask. I thought was gonna be an interesting call. Like with us jumping back now to the present in Superman, I think Brainiac's the correct play.
Yeah.
And Black Mask, I feel like he's getting ready potentially for an ass kicking soon in Absolute Batman. But if next week's an origin issue, it won't be that issue.
Exactly. That's my big thing. Is I don't even think he's gonna get appearance points.
Yeah. I think you're right. But Brainiac has a shot to show up.
He sure does, and to do some damage.
In any case, my week 14.
Yes.
Is gonna be Batman.
Naturally.
I need another row. I don't know why I don't have a row.
What do you mean? You have 3 rows.
Oh, I do have 3 rows. Okay, I'm just blind.
He doesn't trust me.
Don't worry about it. I don't trust you. I've never, ever trusted you.
You're actually only allowed to play 2 characters.
I'm going to keep running with Alfred.
Interesting. But who's your alternate hero, remind me? Aquaman?
It's Aquaman, yeah.
Okay, that's fair then.
I thought there was a chance that, Absolute
it would be
Superman
huge if he did.
I thought that Absolute Superman was going to be a more, open world book than it ended up being. And I thought that was going to be kind of our door to some things. I ended up being super wrong on what that book was going to be. Remember, we made these picks when we had very little information on the book.
Yeah.
But in any case, I am going to actually be swapping back in Hades here because I think Peacemaker's going to get his ass handed to him in the next issue.
That's super fair.
I think honestly, as we're getting closer to the end of the arc, I think there's a shot Hades might pop up. I feel like we getting Hades at some point.
Who
but
who brought the Tetracide here?
we're gonna jump to the bot here.
Yes.
Obviously, the bot's Superman.
Yeah.
And
Superman.
then I don't know how you feel. Like we talked about. I'm gonna go through the characters, and I guess we can play and see how it goes. In my mind, I think there's a higher chance that Nigma stays hero right now, and that Cheetah is more of a villain. But
I pretty empirically disagree. But I suppose there's like I think the fact that Nigma is so against him asking questions really points to villain era.
That's fair, but I don't know if that's
what we could do is we could give him former Mayor Hill as a villain, because he might get that like acquire position of power.
Ooh, that's true. Well, let's go Mayor Hill as the villain. But then we have I don't know that I agree that Cheetah though is going to be
Hamilton Hill. Is
my hero right now? Yeah, I think. Like I don't know that Cheetah is really. I don't know. We didn't get much of Cheetah, but my indication is that that's the kind of thing that goes south real fast.
We could do Martha Wayne. It is going to be an origin, like a Batman Year One.
I don't know. Martha Wayne's kind of, or do you want to go Laura or Laura L?
I don't know. She just got such an issue. I feel like we're not going to be. Like I know that
I think we're gonna get an encounter that leads to his parents,
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, let's go with is it just Laura? How did she spell her name?
I think technically her name is Laura L, but yeah, she just goes by Laura compared to Jor-El.
But it's Lara, not
Yeah, L is their last name, I think technically.
I believe so, yeah. Because it's Jor-El, Kal-El.
Yeah, but it's just interesting that they always say Kal-El and Jor-El, but she's always just Laura. But I assume that's because, like, she gained the last name versus it, like, being intrinsically always there, is my best explanation for why Laura doesn't typically get the L. Because I think,
also
don't both of Kara's parents get the Zor-El? Like, I feel like both of Kara's parents get the Zor-El, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
It's very odd.
Yeah.
Jason Aaron, give us answers.
I don't know why Laura, but like it's not a Jason Aaron. Like that's just a Superman thing. I think.
But he's in charge right now. So Jason Aaron, give us answers.
Jason Aaron, give us answers. Why does Laura not get the L?
Jerry Siegel, tell me.
But yeah. In any case, I think that's going to just take us to a conclusion here.
Yeah. We're ending off with the bot in the lead with 35, me in second with 34, and Jay right behind at 33. So geez Louise,
it's tight. It's real tight.
And I think it's DC, so they're probably doing 6-issue arcs. You think?
I think so. That's typically what they do. So we got.
So this is from our halfway point. We're all tied up.
Yeah. From our halfway point,
scary.
It's very tight, and we'll see what happens. But what else do we have going on?
Too.
Tomorrow, this is going up on Friday, so tomorrow we are live streaming Marvel Rivals 9 to 11 Eastern on the gaming channel / Twitch channel. Yes, new season. Links in the description. On Sunday, we'll be doing our second Best of 2024 video. You can check out our Best Issues video up now. But this Sunday, we'll be doing our Best Series of 2024.
Yes.
And as always, we have our main episodes that go up on Wednesday. You can check out the one that just came out, or you can wait until this coming Wednesday for a new one. But as always...
Call me crazy. You can do both.
You can do both. You can watch everything that we do, as you should do. But I think that covers most of our things. All of our things. So, hopefully, we'll see you next week. Comic Geeks.